Well, people using and selling drugs openly in the hub area of the South Bronx, it has been a problem for decades. This past week, two deputy mayors showed up to the shopping and transit area with NYPD officers to close off a park that was a hot spot for the drug use. Residents tell New York One it was about time that this happened.
Oh, it's disgusting. They just allow it as if it's just normal to lay on the ground with feces and urine as if that is it's just a Garden of Eden.
I'm actually glad that they did this. They cleaned it up. It used to really look really bad. Like a lot of junkies out here laying on the streets, you know, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people getting beat up, people getting stabbed, people getting robbed, you know. So for them to do this right now, I'm actually happy that they did that.
Now, the person who has been pushing this issue of cleaning up the hub, Bronx Congressman Ritchie Torres, he joins us now to discuss this issue. So tell us exactly what has happened in the last few days up there in the hub. I mean, you know, it's 3rd Avenue and 149th Street. That's the main area right there.
Yeah, so yesterday I conducted a site inspection, and the conditions on the ground have dramatically improved. After I held a press conference a few days ago, the mayor's office did take decisive action. So the pedestrian plaza, which had become a hotbed of drug trafficking, has since been barricaded. The NYPD has set up a NYPD mobile command unit. The same is true of sanitation, which set up a mobile command unit. But again, you know, we have to be careful not to declare mission accomplished. You know, what we're seeing is a short-term reaction, and what is urgently needed is a long-term multi-agency commitment to ending the open-air drug market once and for all. Enough with the double standard. You know, the mayor would never tolerate an open-air drug market outside of Gracie Mansion. The wealthiest communities in New York City would never tolerate open-air drug markets in their backyard. So why should the people of the Bronx be forced to see drug addicts inject themselves with fentanyl in the presence of children in broad daylight? Like, we refuse to accept what other communities would deem unacceptable.
The park that they closed off, the Roberto Clemente Plaza.
Yep.
What happened to the people over the last few days? Because when you go up there, I know the area well, I've done stories there, people would just be out in the park hanging out or even nodding off or using drugs. What happened to those individuals?
Well, that's why we need a long-term commitment, because without a long-term commitment, we're reduced to playing a game of whack-a-mole in which we temporarily suppress the open-air drug market only to see it reemerge later on, and we're simply relocating the problem rather than actually solving it. We need every agency to have an all hands on deck approach, right? If there are individuals, drug addicts, who are struggling with addiction, then we need the Department of Health and hospitals to connect them to the care that they need. If there are drug traffickers preying upon the drug addicts, we need the traffickers to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And if there are public spaces like pedestrian plazas that are so poorly designed as to be conducive to loitering and drug trafficking, then we need the Department of Transportation to rethink the design. So there's no single magic bullet. It's going to require a multifaceted response from a whole host of agencies.
You know, we're looking at some video from last year when you brought this issue up at that point, and people were clearly just out on the street using drugs, addicted. They have issues. But it's not just that plaza, because you could just go a few blocks away and see this going on. I mean, is this the solution, coming with these agencies and only focus on this park? Because you can go over to St. Anne's, just a few blocks over, and that whole street was littered with needles.
Well, look, the hub is to the Bronx what Times Square is to Manhattan. It's the central commercial corridor. And we're not going to stand by idly and allow the commercial heart of the South Bronx to rot from within at the hands of an open-air drug market. But you're right, there are deeper issues here. There's a need to connect those with severe chemical addiction to health care. And I want to be clear, I'm not advocating for the criminalization of addiction. But let's be clear, there's nothing remotely compassionate or progressive about allowing those with severe mental illness and chemical addiction to simply languish and die on the streets of New York. That's not compassion, that's cruelty.
And, you know, you are a vocal advocate, and when you speak up, the city moves in. It happened last year. It happened again this year. Have you had a direct conversation with the mayor or his top deputies, because 2 deputy mayors showed up there to 3rd Avenue and 149th Street.
Look, the mayor did take action in response to the press conference I held, but there's been no outreach from the mayor himself.
And so you haven't spoken to the mayor or deputy mayors directly?
My office has been in contact with the mayor's office, but I have not spoken directly to the mayor now.
So what's your vision, let's say, for the next year or the next 5 years? Because as we know, I mean, you're a Bronx guy, I'm a Bronx guy. This has been going on for decades in the hub. What's your vision for that area for the next year or 5 years?
Look, we have to revitalize the hub. The hub has a commercial vacancy rate that is triple where it should be. A healthy commercial district has a vacancy rate of around 5%. The hub has a crisis rate of 15%, which is unsustainable. Like, we're hemorrhaging anchor tenants like Bank of America because of the public safety and quality of life challenges. I spoke to a small business owner who's been operating in the hub since 1990, right after high school. He put his life savings into his business, and he has seen his customer base collapse because of an open air drug market that was allowed to fester for far too long. And so I'm focused like a laser on revitalizing the hub, which is the civic and commercial beating heart of the Bronx.
Yep, a lot of people shop and have shopped on 3rd Avenue for many, many years. I will follow up with you on this one. Congressman Ritchie Torres, thank you for your time.